How do you study the?
You said got somebody was taking kick-ass photos out there, and they posted them up.
Well, that's good because kick-ass photos are important. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Age of Arcanum. Tonight's probably gonna be a pretty chill event because we've had some weird schedules with this particular game. We actually had almost like a 2-3-parter encounter and then took a break and then did some traveling to the Bracken Wastes because now they're shifting out of the Southern Wastes. And there was a lot of like weird conversation going on. And I think Shannon was at a con. So there was a lot of, I think we skipped that one. And then we played the one when Dara was gone.
I think that was the one that you didn't skip because you played a session that Dara was in that I wasn't here.
I can barely hear you.
Oh, sorry. I'm also sitting very far away
Yeah.
from the microphone.
There, I can hear your lovely voice now.
Sorry. I don't feel like sitting up because I feel like being lazy, Jason.
You could be lazy as long as I could hear you.
You know what we do instead of sitting up is we just bring the microphone closer. Pro tip.
I'm trying to piece together a schedule because we didn't play last Friday because Ivar was gone, I believe. And so he was gone for 3 different games. I just needed a week off to work on content and some other stuff anyways. And then the previous week, we had that technical glitch where we were having lots of issues. Then the previous week, we played without Dara, I believe. And then the week before that, we played without Gray. So it's been kind of one of those. And we had a 2-part encounter that played out. And then Dara played jealous to Gray's interest in Callan. And then obviously, Shannon came back and then, it's all good. And before we recap, because I know our schedule is a little bit wonky. We will probably take next Friday off because Dara is moving next week. so she will not have her equipment together. And you'll notice that Merrick has his camera working for now. We'll see how that lasts. But he tested the setup, I think, yesterday before we did our one shot, and it looked really good. So we now have Merrick's wonderful face to share with the world, all the way from Rio de Janeiro, down in South America. I believe that's where it's located. I'm saying that on purpose because there are a lot of people in my lovely country that probably don't know where Rio de Janeiro is. They will probably, if you ask anyone in New York where Rio de Janeiro is, they'll probably tell you New Orleans. But, you know, that's just because, you know, Rio de Janeiro has a Mardi Gras. New Orleans has a Mardi Gras. So, you know, it only makes sense that all the Mardi Gras happen in, you know, New Orleans. But, you know.
All right.
I might be being a little bit glib, a little bit, I'm a little bit punchy. It's been a long week. I've been working my ass off on the ranch, and we have babies on the ranch. We have
You're a baby rancher?
two baby goats that were dropped 2 days ago, and it's a new mom, so we were a little bit worried. But so far she's doing good, and she's a miniature goat, so she's already small. The babies are tiny in comparison, so it's pretty damn adorable. We got a boy and a girl, and we think we have another goat that's getting ready to drop. So it's going to get interesting around the farm this fall. Very interesting. Hey, Aki, how are you? Good to see you. Itzaki is actually one of our players in our Wednesday night game. She just joined us from our Discord. So yeah, I know I'm rambling. I tend to do that when I'm a little bit sleepy. It's been, I know I could, you know, Shannon's had a long week. We've all kind of had long weeks. But that's okay. Before we do our recap, Shannon, go ahead and tell us a little bit about some of the stuff you got going on these days.
Little podcast called Obligo Del Diablo, which right now the Discord is kind of popping off, and it's real fun, cute, and exciting. So, you know, also, by the way, guys, we have a Discord. And
Nice.
also, by the way, we have a Discord. Both of those worth joining, in my opinion. We just got our first, like, fan art of a person that wasn't, like, or from a person that wasn't, like, I wasn't, like, commissioned for it.
Right. That's always
The
fun
people
when
that
that
we got
happens.
commissions from were, like, for the most part, people that were fans of the show, though.
Right.
Anyway,
No, I get it. No, I totally get it.
so that is the thing that I do. It comes out basically anywhere you can find podcasts. You can pick them from your local podcast tree. And that comes out every other Thursday in Obligo Del Diablo. And then we have a second campaign running right now called Section 6. That is a little game about the technocracy, and people trying to leave that? Question mark. Make terrible decisions. Period.
The best kind of decisions are the worst decisions.
Yeah. It's okay. Anyway, I did not get the newest episode out this past Thursday because the aforementioned very long week, but there will be a new episode of Section 6 next week, and then the episode that I'm working on should come out the week after. So.
Very cool. And I put links in the chat for people that want to go, or just go down below, put the links there. Shannon, when you get a chance, can you send me a link to your Discord so I can get that published as well, por favor? Ivar, I hope we're back to work on art these days. Now we're back from war and we need a break from pulled ligaments and destroyed joints and dislocated, you know, body parts, you know, the normal stuff.
Yeah. Thank God for Callisto. That's all I can say. She fixed everything, most of it that was wrong with me. Yeah. So no new artwork, but I'm waiting for you guys to buy my old artwork. So
yeah, keep meaning to do that.
Yeah, get a move on. Come on.
Chop.
Anyway,
Chop.
Yeah, chop. You know, you should already know about it. I've been telling you about it every single game.
But like, if I buy it now, then I'm moving, and I don't know what address to send it to, and I don't want to lose it. So.
Oh,
I'm
you've
talking
lost
about you.
it,
I'm talking
Dara.
about
You've lost
I'm
it.
talking about the fans out there. The fans. the nerdarchy out there.
And Ivar's link is down below. Go buy that ashtray that you've always wanted, or that COVID testing kit that you need to have in your glove box, or even that heavily used surgical mask with the Age of Arcanum emblazoned on it, or a half-empty IV bottle of blood, because you never know when you need a half-empty IV bottle of blood, especially if you're being chased by vampires.
Maddie knows exactly when you need that.
I knew you were a pessimist. It's half full, not half empty.
It's not entirely empty, and it's not quite full. Somewhere in between, as they say. Dara, how are you doing? We missed your face.
I'm very, very stressed. I am trying to find the time to see all the people and do all the things and pack all the things, and there's just not enough hours in the day to do that and sleep, and it's problematic.
Yeah, I hear you. Sleep is something that's very soft these days. Sometimes it shows up, sometimes it don't. So I get the vibe. I definitely get the vibe. So with that, or actually,
being here.
No, Gajo. How is Brazil? How's Rio de Janeiro these days? How's your life been? You're muted.
Yeah, I got a lot of traffic here. If I leave it open, you're gonna hear a lot of motorcycles coming by. But other than that, yeah, we are ending summer. I mean, is it like we are in mid-season, so we have like a lot of hot heat and a lot of cold at the same time? It's really weird. That's how we are in Brazil. Like one day it's cold, the other day is hot.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned you're really weird, because now I feel safe in saying it.
Yeah, it's like tropical weather.
Well, with
music-wise, we are doing fine. We're doing fine. We just had a concert, and it's available in Jimmy London's YouTube account. Just go check it out if you want.
I do not have that below, but I will get that from Gajo in the future, and I will get that published up on our panels below, because we have a lot of co-creators and friendlies in our group that like to create and share. So I'm a huge fan of passing it forward, or paying it forward, as they say, because I think that's kind of important for the creative space to really support each other. So with that, let's go ahead and recap. We are officially on our 23rd session tonight. We're finally heading out of the southern waste and making our way back north towards an area called the Bracken, where the team hopes to eventually link up with the rebel forces that Callan seems to be the leader of, in an attempt to finally start a plan of meeting with the forces of Soot, gaining more reinforcements, and hatching a plan to take on Wyndham, the capital city of the Salt Sea, where Gregor resides, the giant Minotaur slaver leader, who is holding that entire region in its grip. And the team has already encountered at least 3 separate times the Dragonborn slavers, as well as one of the Death Wings that were sent to the community of Espis that was riding on the back of the massive Brachiosaur. And the team fled into the wastes and eventually found their way to Femur Valley. It's in Femur Valley. They were chased down there.
Retreated. We did not flee.
I would
We
say
strutted.
I would say fleeing Espis and then making your way to Femur Valley is pretty accurate, considering the situation. But that's fine. POV. Losing Harrow to his obsession with the arcane of the wastes, he had turned into something celestial in nature and made his way out into the deep waste in hopes of pursuing more arcane knowledge. leaving the rest of the team with a memory that Harrow had left behind, which became Merrick. Merrick is now currently fused with the stone, the conduit stone, that seems to be somehow at the center of all of this transition that the world is going through, or has gone through. Merrick is actually a memory, an old memory of almost half a millennia ago, reborn through Harrow's kind of fractured mind, and then the arcane magic of the conduit stone fused to Merrick, bringing him to some semblance of existence. With this, the team in Femur Valley met up with, well, Grayson's, their wife at one point, although Grayson seems to be the only one with the memory of this being restored. Callan has confirmed that there is a hint of a memory, or hint of a reason why she thinks she remembers who they are, but they're still working it out. However, there was an awkward moment as we had finished the second day of travel into the north, and at the end of that evening, I believe Grayson and Callan had an awkward moment that was witnessed by the majority of the camp. Although we also had an interesting exchange between Zephora and Merrick, as they seemed to be practicing these strange things called human emotions. And Merrick was explaining to Zephora what cringe means, which I thought was absolutely fucking hysterical. But all of you managed to drift off into your long rest. You just completed your second day of travel towards the Bracken towards the Bracken Wastes and the Central Highlands that you will eventually have to skirt around to make your way more northeast into the Valley of Bones in an attempt to meet up with the main rebel army that is gathering there. Let me switch out the maps really quick. Give you a reminder, because now you're in the northern wastes, near the border of the Bracken. The Valley of Bones is to the east, and Death's Hollow is to the northeast, and that was a mistake on my part. The rebel forces are actually in Death's Hollow, and you guys are currently camped in the Northern Heights as you spent your first 2 days traveling through the Northern Heights, and now you're ready to drop down into the kind of like the outskirts of the Valley of Bones and make your way towards Death's Hollow. However, with that, it is morning. Sounds of a very busy camp beginning to awaken. What would you guys like to do?
Okay, well, first of all, if I didn't know exactly where I was from, Death's Hollow would have been it. Like, that's rad.
Fair enough.
So are we traveling today, or kind of, since I missed that, so the camp, what was the intention from the camp?
Well, there was a great deal of shenanigans that mostly transpired. The main force, or the main group, has decided to join Callan's efforts, and they're going to make their way with her towards Death's Hollow, where they're supposedly supposed to meet up with Callan's forces, as well as possibly reinforcements being sent by Soot, although there's not a whole lot of information on that yet.
Right. Okay. So I guess in that case we'd be like packing up and getting ready to join and go with them, because I think that was the goal.
Okay.
Make sure there's rations, sun protection, see if, since it's kind of marshy, like foot protection, such of that nature.
Yeah, give me a perception check as you wake in the morning.
Well, that didn't go very well. That is a 7.
7. Looking around, the camp seems pretty bent on getting started with the day. There's a sense of resolution as different groups of people begin to break down. different parts of the camp. Callan's main group is kind of gathering up their things and getting things ready to go. As we are now starting the season of heat, it is already very hot. It's early morning, the sun's been up for about an hour, and it's already 95 degrees, and it looks to be an incredibly hot travel day.
Yeah, sun is definitely, with having traveled the right ways, it's gonna be like Dara's priority, knowing how brutal it's gonna be.
And just me chilling, the drow.
Zephora's crying. She looks very, very forlorn.
Well, Merrick is just absorbing everything, kind of passively understanding this new world, all the mix of races that have caught my attention, and I'm trying to understand how it all plays out.
And the morning activity seems to be more routine. As Callan the previous night said, it's about another 7 days journey to Death's Hollow. The journey through the outskirts of the Valley of Bones has the potential for being dangerous, as it is a unknown area during the season of heat, as they had hoped to be up into the Bracken by now. They were delayed in Femur Valley. They were delayed in getting information about the Rebel Force and when Suit was sending reinforcements. So this week-long march through Valley of Bones and up into the Death's Hollow seems to be quite tenuous at best. A table is set up, the map has been set up. Callan and the others seem to be discussing best routes, best ways to go. It's that kind of calm morning of people trying to figure out next steps at this point, as the camps are all being brought down, packed up. Raptors are being hitched up to the sleigh that you guys had captured with all the equipment and supplies on the inside of it. The 12 or so survivors, Callan's small, group that she has, and then the 4 of you.
I apologize in advance. My cat is absolutely losing her mind right now. Just buck wild.
That's the cat's name?
Yeah, Buck Wild, definitely.
Buck Wild.
Her name is Asuka, and she's a good girl most of the time.
She's a little bean. All right, so packing preparation.
Okay. Anybody else want to do anything before the day gets started?
Zephora's still wrapped up in her sleeping, I don't know, leather.
Cozy, nice cozy sleeping leather.
Yeah, she's sobbing.
Wait, what? Wait, hang on.
Oh, what?
Hang on.
Yeah, okay, so Dara's gonna try to find out why you're sobbing.
Okay.
Dara, you stand next to Zephora's sleeping area. She's the only one that doesn't seem to be getting up and packing. There's strange noises and almost like soft crying coming from her sleeping duffel made of raptor skin and leather hide.
You're gonna roast in there. What's wrong?
Just go, it's all right.
Not going to do that. We go together. What's wrong?
I look at you, there's tears in my eyes. Kind of get up a little bit. It's just, I don't know, and she goes to give you a hug.
Oh. Okay. Dara's gonna hug her back, kind of confused.
Okay. There's a
Just
knife
feels
at your there's a knife at your throat.
Oh fuck.
She goes, "So is that sadness? Did I do it right? I was trying to allure
That's
someone in.
fucking dark. You're dark, Sephora.
Did you think I was sad?
So Dara, in reaction, would have pulled her like boot knife out and had it at Sephora's back, and be like, "Don't do that again."
Did it work?
That was not sadness. That is an attack. We don't do that to friends.
Well, I'm practicing. So, did my trap work? It made you come to see how I was doing, and then it let your guard down, and so I could get my dagger to your throat. Did it work?
Yes,
Or were
yes,
you just letting
Sephora.
me do it?
Yes, Sephora, you did a very good job, and that worked.
Oh, thank you.
Feel
I'm
free
happy.
to do that on anybody else.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, start packing up.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna like emotions. They're useful.
Dara's like traumatized because it's like the second person they are close to them that's had a dagger at their throat.
Oh, I wouldn't have used it. It was just practice.
There's just a little bit of blood on the tip of it from where it kind of nicks you right in the chin.
Oh my god! Like, can everybody stop like leaving scars on my throat?
Merrick was right.
Vince is all over them. That McDonald's you were eating there, Jen.
So what had happened was we've been in the office all week and they've had pizza they have had pizza like every single day.
Yeah.
Stuff ordered to them. And I'm not doing that because I'm like eating chicken and rice for the rest of eternity.
Right.
And then what had happened was we ordered Portos to be delivered. And Portos is amazing and delicious. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll take some of that. And then it took
What is
45
Portos?
minutes. Portos is a Cuban bakery in Glendale.
But yeah.
Cuban-ish.
Eh.
And so it was like 45 minutes after my lunch already. No, it was like more than an hour after my lunch already. And then they ordered it and it took 45 minutes. So I was like starving by the time that it came. And they didn't bring my order. They brought everybody else's order in the entire office.
Oh, denied.
So I was hungry, so I had some McDonald's.
Oh. How far the mighty have fallen from that to McDonald's.
I know, from that to McDonald's.
Dara, at some point you hear Callan call out to you. Dara, would you come here, please, for a moment?
Me? Okay.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And you walk over to where they have a makeshift, like, series. They kind of use, like, some makeshift bone and to make this, like, kind of very ad hoc surface.
Why are the bones makeshift?
Well, the table is. They've got the map rolled out and daggers kind of like at the corners to keep it fully rolled out. We've never really had a chance to talk. I seem very distracted and I apologize for that. Question for you. Are you familiar with the Bracken at all?
I am. Yes.
Well, we need to get there. We're behind schedule. And it's going to get very hot. We're thinking of taking the trail that takes us closest to the valley, go to the east of the valley, and then make our way directly north into Death's Hollow, or potentially take the long northwest trail. It's going to take us further out from Death's Hollow, but might be a safer way to go. I think I could knock a few days off the trip going directly through the valley. Thoughts?
You can knock off a few days going through the valley, but if we start by taking the closer trail past the point where it would branch off to the longer trail, there's actually a different shortcut. Won't cut off as many days as directly across the valley, but still 2.
Give me a survival check with advantage.
We'll just making some shit up. That's kind of cool. What about the underground passage?
24.
24. He watches Callan, her drow elven hand kind of points to the giant archway that enters down into the valley crater, and she runs it along there to the backside of where she thinks the Valley of Bones are, and then points north. And she goes, do you think there's another trail past the arches that we could take through the shallow desert then?
I took it once. That's how I escaped from my most recent master. Nobody really knows about it. But I found it one day.
Interesting. Were you a slaver once before, or a slave before, Dara?
I was, and she'll kind of sheepishly drag down to show the scar under or the brand under the clavicle.
He watches Callan's eyes get really wide. She turns to the other elf compatriot, and they kind of look over at the halfling, and the halfling nods and pulls down her collar as well to show the branding and obviously the alterations and augmentations to her nose and face. And Callan looks away from the halfling and just kind of frowns a bit. Were you by chance kept in the capital city of Wyndham for any length of time?
Wyndham.
That is where the slavers hold court. That's where their grip is strongest. If you've ever been a slave, chances are you might have been there unless you were kept in some of the outlying villages.
We weren't really ever allowed out of the main hold. We kind of existed within the hold. I don't know. I mean, Wyndham was mentioned, but I'm not sure if that's where we were. They didn't like us to know. If we knew, then we could orient ourselves. So it was very hushed.
Rackham looks across over at Callan. Maybe her memory will loosen the closer we get. Could use more knowledge once we have to enter that accursed city. Yes, but traumatic events limit one's memory from time to time. Our halfling friend has suffered greatly, and she has virtually no memory of being maintained there, but yet we know she must have been there because the master surgeon clearly worked on her. The fact that Dara doesn't seem to have any augmentations or missing body parts tells me that she might not have been kept at Wyndham. Most that are kept at Wyndham are surgically altered.
I do have one alteration on my leg. She'll lift up her left leg where there's a metal piece there. It's kind of fortified.
Callan looks at it. Oh, interesting.
I got away lucky compared to what we saw there.
Oh, I don't doubt it. This is quite terrifying, to say the least. Well, I guess the real question I have for you is, are you and your... Who's the leader of your group, Dara?
I'd like to think we all have our place, but it seems I've kind of been put in that position.
How long have you been traveling with Grayson?
Oh, months.
Have they ever mentioned me before to you?
They have not. No, it was quite a surprise to know that you might have met.
You watch as Callan stares at the map and then looks at the others. You'd excuse us, please. I'd like to have a private conversation with Dara. And you watch as all of her, the elf, the halfling, and even, I should probably have my notes up.
Saucer of milk, table for two. Meow.
Even Rakim and Mikhail kind of look strangely. Pharaoh even looks a little strangely, expecting to kind of linger onto the conversation. They all kind of reluctantly move away from the map and where the two of you seem to be about to have this conversation. Dara, do you mind if I ask you a question?
That depends on the question. I don't know you that well yet.
Well, it's about them. It's about Grayson.
Okay.
Do you have feelings for them?
Does that affect what you think about me and my abilities to help with this rebellion?
I don't know. I think it affects me more than it affects you. I have strange feelings for them. I'm trying to sort it out. I don't know why, but I feel like I do know who they are. I have an intimate understanding of the feeling, but no memory of the cause. Does that make sense? And my memory is spurred on by the clear signs of your feelings that I've seen you cast their way. That's not meant to be intrusive. I do apologize, but we're about to go through some very dangerous territory, and I feel I should focus, that I should regather myself and get my thoughts in order. I think that's what I'm asking is help with that, if that makes sense.
Well, if it's a comfort to you, it's been made clear to me that my feelings aren't desired to be in their direction right now. So I will not get in the way.
Does that bother you? Does it hurt?
It eventually won't. It eventually won't.
If it's any consolation to you, Dara, I have mixed feelings as well. She reaches out to take your hand, Dara. Gray just broke her camera.
Too much movement.
And she just gently takes your hand, very benign with great sensitivity. There's a power about you. I don't know what it is, but it's quite intoxicating. Me and Rakim, well, we have a relationship based on merit of need, and when you travel together, feelings are accommodated. And she kind of lets your hand gently go and just looks up at you. Well, just know I'm probably just as confused as you are, but I do agree with you. The path past the archway is probably the better way to go. Let's finish packing. And she just kind of awkwardly smiles at you and walks towards her main group and begins to finish up the last of the packing as all of you finish up your morning routine.
Okay. Look, as a person that has personally experienced ethically having more than one relationship going on at the same time, I never thought my wife would steal my girlfriend.
Sounds like a song.
Sounds like a point of view problem.
Sounds like a country western song.
Merrick's like, hey.
Way too gay.
Merrick's like, hey, over 500 years ago, we were doing it all the time.
Yeah, Dara is like still confused and doesn't hate it and is confused that she doesn't hate it and is having a lot of feelings right now.
Well, my wife got married to my girlfriend.
Rude.
And so, trying not to blush is going to kind of walk back to finish packing.
Why do I see a massive TPK coming? Okay, let's, don't force her to take sides, okay?
No.
Oh my god.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Well, I already know I can get past your guard.
Ma'am?
Very mean. Dara did not like that. Dara is very... No.
I'll catch on that you're mad in a little bit, and I'll ask you what you're feeling so I can understand it.
So with that, the morning passes quite quickly. All the gear is packed up. Strange looks are cast about from different perspectives. Different opinions have been shared. But the morning starts. The slog down out of the northern heights and down into the crater of the desert waste, and then eventually across the archway to the other side of the crater and trying to reach the very edge of the Valley of Bones. Could take a few days. For brevity, is there anything anyone wants to do specifically during this 3-day march of the first half of the journey? Do you want to do anything prior to your long rest? I've already made a series of rolls for each of the days from a standpoint of possible things you might run into. Oddly enough, the beginning of the season kind of turns things a bit easier for you to travel. It's sweltering hot, which means most of the creatures and beasts that are mostly either raptor, lizard-like in nature, snake-like, or insect-like, most of the shale crag species have begun to hibernate for the summer, as this is the time that they make their way deep underground in an attempt. The sandworms, hollow worms, and the valley worms, as well as the bracken reach worms, tend to migrate further north, where the bracken is kind of buttressed up against an old poisonous salt marsh that runs a little bit cooler. But you guys, I rolled really shitty. You have 3 days of uninterrupted travel. What would you like to do with it?
Just so much boning. Just so much boning. Yeah. Guys, we have the opportunity, because we have just 3 days that we know for a fact that we aren't going to get screwed over.
You believe them, okay.
Well, you believe them.
Okay.
Since we're not going to get screwed over, let's do lots of screwing.
But we're going to get screwed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Bounces.
I mean, a threesome has been presented.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Gray would be very intrigued.
So with that,
God,
the first day's
powerful
journey
women.
is mostly a matter of heat, intake of water. I need each of you to deduct 3 water tokens from your inventory.
Oh no, we're actually paying attention to water tokens now.
Yeah, it's the season of
water
heat.
tokens
It's
in
bad.
my inventory when I have still like 250 of them out.
You said 3?
Yes, and
Oh,
that's
that's
enough for
nice.
you to cook with, drink with.
Okay.
The
I
last
don't know. I want to know if I am forced by my new material existence to do that, because I didn't enjoy what I ate last time. It wasn't pleasant. I'd rather be a ghost for now. But I have to know if it's allowed by the magic that is keeping me up.
Yeah, give me a charisma save for day 1 of your travel.
It's a 20.
20. You converse and commune with the conduit stone. It understands your frustration. And for day 1 of your travel, it allows you to be in your wraith-like existence so you could avoid food and water for your travel. However, it diminishes your interaction with the world, and it diminishes your ability to perceive the physical world whenever you're in your wraith form. It's always a challenge being between 2 realities. And your gradual attunement to this conduit stone is gradually going to affect your ability to be a wraith.
Mm-hmm. Well, having that in mind, during those 3 days, eventually, I would like to get some tactical conversation with Cullen as our leader, let her know about my peculiar abilities, letting her know that I am able to hold my ground in a battlefield, but I am much better doing spying. So going through walls.
Yeah, as you
like
approach
that.
the head of the column as it's making its way out of the northern heights, you kind of wander and drift over alongside where Callan is walking with Rakim and Mikhail. And she notices you and looks at you. And as you're about to start a conversation with you, she kind of holds her hand up for a moment and looks at you and goes, Merrick, I know we haven't had time to speak much, but can I ask you something?
Hello, Cullen. I was just about to come to talk to you. Please speak up.
What are you?
Oh, well,
Perfect.
I'm a specter, a wraith, a spirit.
Are you cursed?
Well, not in the traditional sense, but I am cursed with existence. I would rather not, in
Same.
fact.
Bro, same.
She just looks at you sideways, kind of confused. Is your memory intact then? You have a memory.
The memories I have, I've been told not to talk about. I guess we can go over this because it was just a recommendation. Something about dangerous ideas about the past.
So you have a knowledge of the world before all this occurred.
Yes, the world before.
Interesting. Is it true then? It didn't always look like this. It
Absolutely.
wasn't always a wasteland.
The Thamur Valley was a lushful city full of water. Everywhere we had fountains. Do you know what a fountain is?
You watch as Mikhail just kind of quickly walks away. Blasphemy, he mutters under his voice as he kind of walks away. But don't mind him. He's bitter about. It doesn't matter. I know what a fountain is. There, Titan's Fall has its famous water fountain that it uses magics to bring water from the very air itself and convert them into containers of magic, containers of wealth, coins, similar to this. And she flips a Titan's Fall token up in the air and she speaks Talona's name and it just bursts into water and sprays right in front of you.
Talona is the common word for all these tokens?
For the Titan's Fall ones, yes, you must speak a word. There's the Wyndham tokens, and she pulls out a totally different coin stamped with the slaver emblem on one side and Gregor's image on the other, and she flips it and speaks Gregor's name, Gregor the Great, and you watch as it bursts into water, kind of sprays into her face. The idea of the water token is simply magic that pulls moisture or water from the few areas that we could get it. The higher, more magical someone is, the stronger their abilities and their powers are, and they can even take poisonous water, turn it into drinkable water. This is how those hold power over those that cannot do this. This is one of the reasons why the Highborns have achieved what they've achieved. It's one of the reasons why Soot, even though he's a benefactor of mine, is, even he has his power. Water, for all intents and purposes, is the real power of this land.
I understand that people with power don't want to create a world where water is abundant. They want to keep their power. Is that why this information, these ideas are so dangerous?
Well, I think some would consider you very dangerous because you have a memory of a world that most consider as false, never actually happened, never occurred. So yes, ideas can be very dangerous. For example, I believe we should all be allowed to live free. We should all have access to the powers that will give us the clean water that we need. That we shouldn't live in pervasive fear of slavery and living under the boot of those that aren't going to be benevolent towards us as citizens of their empire. You watch as her face kind of turns out west. Somewhere out there, in the deep western wastes, are small communities, small empires that once tried the best they can to make things work. Gregor saw to it that they would never stand on their feet ever again. It's unfortunate. I hope to go out there someday and help them when I can, but the idea of cutting the head off the body of the snake sounds more effective to me. Most seem to nibble at the edges of the slavers. I tend to go for the throat.
Well. That is a posture I respect. If we can make the war as fast as possible, that's how we win. Long-lasting war is a loss for both sides. And that's what I wanted to let you know. I look at a piece of rock, some kind of bump into the terrain, and I show her the phasing power of the ray, and I tell I can go through solid material. And I can fly up to 10 feet high. So it's really hard to stop me going anywhere. And, well, cutting some heads that you want to see cut. I just wanted to let you know that. And if you want to have a more private conversation about the past, I'm always available.
Well, I appreciate your offer of assistance. I can assure you, if you find yourself proficient in the arts of taking life in secret, I most certainly have work for you. We are going to be doing some rearrangements of things on our way once we meet up with my army and when we meet up with Suit's reinforcements. I'm not so convinced that all the officers that I'm aware of are necessarily on our side, so we may have to sort out some allegiances when we get to that point, if you understand my meaning.
Well, on that matter, I should tell you that the three that travel with me, they're special. And there is a fate to be fulfilled that is greater than me and you and even those three.
I've had
But
an
it involves
opportunity
them.
to speak with both Dara and Grayson. I would like an opportunity to speak with Sephora. I find her most intriguing.
She's fascinating. But in terms of allegiances, I foresee a future where there will be only two sides. And the three that are with me, they are tied to me by strings that we cannot understand right now. I wish I could tell you more, but not even I understand the full implications of what is going on with me.
I understand. I appreciate the honesty. I was in short supply these days. But, well met, Merrick. Thank you. And you watch as eventually her group kind of reassembles and the march just continues, the slog through the hot heat. At the end, does anybody else want to do anything before this day ends? We're on a 3-day hike.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I want to ride up next to Dara and
Fucking
observe
asshole.
her and see if I recognize that she's angry.
Give me an insight check. This will be the base of your ability to observe, and we'll compare it to your passive, and we'll see how much you can kind of glean on.
What my passive insight is?
No, just roll insight.
Okay, so it's insight. Where's it at? Idiot.
Starts with an I.
14.
14. What's your passive?
My passive is 14.
So, Dara, I leave it up to you.
So she's not angry. She's just a little discomfort. Like I don't know, not like mad, but she's uncomfortable about it. But yeah, I mean, I would say I'm not like hiding it. I'm just being a little
Like you
wary.
look at me kind of like a little annoyed.
Yeah.
Okay. Dara.
Yes, Sephora?
I've been thinking about what happened. And you came to comfort me, right? Is that correct?
I did. I was worried about you.
So that means you like me. You
Yes,
care about me.
I like you. I like Gray. I like Merrick. We're on this. We're in this together. You've proved to have my back, and of course, I'm gonna have yours.
Well, I didn't think about it, but thinking about it, I made you feel an emotion that you didn't like to have, and I apologize for that.
You did, and deception is good as a tool against our enemies, but there's a thing when you do like somebody called trust, where you trust that you're a safe place. And so when you do the things you do to the bad guys, to the people who are trying to build trust with you, that's betrayal, and that doesn't feel good.
Well, I was kind of just practicing. I didn't mean to. I was waiting for anybody to come up, actually, but you did.
I don't know.
Well, that means you care about me, so I care about you. So just know that I'll kill for you.
And I imagine the whole conversation is completely monotone. Like, it's just like unreadable emotionally, because like she's completely monotone in her conversation with you, while Dara's voice is very animated and very emotional, and the two just clash. Those emotions just seem so weird.
Dara's gonna take her dagger, her little boot dagger, out and kind of lightly slice her palm, and then hand the dagger to Zephora and hold her hand out.
Oh, you hand me the knife?
Yep.
Oh. Is this a ritual?
It's a ritual.
It's so creepy.
Do I drink your blood or?
No. Copy what I did.
Oh,
no.
Chad's like, what? Drinking blood?
Cut your hand?
What night is this?
Cut my hand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, great. And then I'm just gonna grab it and shake it.
Oh.
All right, that's it. Turn away and then go back to pack it to like kind of ride a little forward.
Dara, give me a con save DC 39.
What?
No, I'm kidding. You get
My blood's
hepatitis
highly
A
toxic.
through Z.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm highly toxic. No.
Yeah,
I'm like just like this with my hand bleeding. I'm like, what just happened? This is me.
That's a blood hunter. That's her, her trust. That's where her power comes from. She's trusting you and making that bond with you.
Okay, you explain that?
Yeah, I'll brief it. Not quite yet.
Oh, okay. She doesn't know what the hell's going on. Okay. So, we're joined by blood?
Yes. And you don't betray people joined by blood.
No, I won't betray you then. I've
Good.
never been joined by anybody with blood. They usually just drink it out of their necks.
And I'm the
Thanks.
one playing the vampire.
I don't know. I'm confused.
I mean the dampier.
Dampier.
Also the vampire.
I don't know. I haven't seen you drink much blood, so I think I've eaten more flesh than you.
Gray paints it more than drinks it.
There's a finger painting, and I'm unconscious.
Yeah. 2 hobbits on a wall.
Sounds like a bar.
Yeah, right.
So day 1 of the 3-day journey comes to a conclusion. Each of you deduct 5.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sir, you didn't let me roll for spider chunkla?
Oh,
Oh,
that's right, because
Spider
you're settling it. Yeah, so setting into your long rest, anybody want to work on anything before the day 2 starts?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Spider Chancla.
Go for it. And I will say you've become proficient in this, Gray. So go ahead and give me sleight of hand with advantage.
proficiency in spider chanclas. I love it.
Yeah, like
Proficiency in spite of spider of pants.
in spider of it. Spider face.
My partner, ladies and
That's a
gentlemen.
dirty 20.
Nice. Go ahead and give me wisdom check with advantage.
Weirdly not as good. 14. Or
Or-
13.
13. You started off incredibly successful at first, but struggled on some of the more meticulous aspects of the mending and assembly of them. However, you did accomplish the adjustment feature so that as he grows, you can adjust and make them fit as the spider's legs grow out more, which you've begun to realize by measuring and kind of like sketching out as the spider gets bigger, that its body doesn't seem to get all that much bigger. Its legs, however, seem to be growing exponentially. They do seem to be getting quite longer, and therefore you kind of get the feeling it's going to be a lot taller than you originally thought. Its mandibles have gotten a bit larger. Its appetite's a bit larger. In fact, when it comes back kind of limping from the edge of one of the rock outcroppings, it's carrying a large lizard in its mouth. And you know, you realize the chanclas that he's currently wearing are probably a little wonky and need some more work. So maybe a couple more evenings of work and you can get them adjusted and fixed appropriately.
Hey, boy. Also, why are you calling him an it? His name is Philip. He
Excuse
has
me,
a
Philip.
name.
Can you
Philip.
just do his sound real quick for me? I love it. Do it.
Little bits of drool and spittle and acid coming out of the mandibles.
Yeah. I'm waiting for it to talk.
If it does, it's going to sound like this. Well, hello. I have
Ooh,
found
hello.
a lizard. It tastes wonderful.
Just sucked a lizard
And just
dry.
so you know,
Very
as much as
tasty.
I appreciate your chanclas that you've made for me, just be aware I'll probably suck you dry, but nothing personal.
Oh, yes. Hello, Philip. It's lovely to meet you. Hello, I am your mother, father
Philip the butler.
person. I'm the responsible adult in your life. Haha, that sucks for you.
But that's okay, because see, in our culture, we eat our parents.
That's true. You have that up on your culture. This is very true. But Philip, my darling, I gave you life. Please do not complain about your chanclas ever again.
Yes, mummy.
Daddy.
For some reason, they're over there talking to a spider that's making clicking noises, but they are like speaking very good, like common English, and begins to beat the spider with a wire hanger, yelling "No wire hangers" the whole time.
Oh,
No
Chanclas.
wire hangers!
No wire chanclas.
I could let that one go because your mommy dearest voice was just so damn good.
The Mother Dearest is not a role I have yet played, but one day I shall.
Oh my god, that's
Not
great.
for biological children. That gross.
All right, so anybody else want to do anything? Work on any crafts or work on any skill sets before we take the long rest?
I want to take the cloak that I have, and I want to maybe get some type of like glue substance or something like that from maybe some like animal sinews boiled down, and then smear it on there and kind of make it like a camouflage cape. Like if I laid down, it'd do like the Hobbit thing and you couldn't see me in the desert.
Your cloak is made of shale raptor skin, so it's already kind of a gray, blackish kind of coloration with the beaded reptilian finish on it. Give me an investigation check as you go to check the sleigh that the survivors are in charge of.
Investigation. 18?
18. You managed to find a small iron, like ceramic. It's got iron bands on it, ceramic encasing. The kind of the leader of the survivors goes, "Oh yeah, I was looking at that earlier. I think it's spider glue. There's a particular spider
Boiled down
that
spiders.
No. There's a spider web that you can collect and then boil it down, and there's an adhesive that comes out of it. I think that's what those Dragonborn, I don't know how they acquired it. Their methods could be brutal, but it's very good glue. It's very good adhesive for you need it. Please, we have no use for it. Take it."
Thank you. I'll take it.
So what are you attempting to do?
So I want to take it and like smear the cloak, and then take bits of like sand and earth and little rocks and stuff and just cover it.
This is either going to go amazingly well or horribly bad.
Yeah, or I'm going to be covered with glued rocks on
You're
my
going to
hand.
be like
Get
with
it?
that 5-year-old
Kindergarten.
toddler with like paste in their hair and
Right.
like things stuck to their fingers.
My hand stuck to my head.
Hey, Gray, look what I did. And you're going to come over just covered in craft.
We're going to put that on the refrigerator, Zephora. Okay.
What is this macaroni glue shit?
Yeah.
So give me your survival check.
Oh, God. Why is it always a survival check? Come on, survival. 60. Dirty 20.
30-20. You gather up some very fine elements of the natural environment. You get a feeling, this is going to get difficult to manage because you'd have to redo this in every environment that you set in. But for now, you gather up enough material to at least kind of match the area that you're in right now. Go ahead and give me sleight of hand with advantage.
Advantage, sleight of hand. 6, 21.
21. Now give me intelligence with advantage. Just a simple intelligence check. Roll d20 and add your intelligence modifier to it.
Okay. 14. 16.
16. You do a pretty decent job. It's neither expert nor poor. There's certain areas that the glue's clumped a little bit not as effectively, but you do a pretty good job of adhering all this to the surface of your cloak. It looks like it'll last for maybe about 10 days before you have to kind of like redress it and kind of fix it up and, remodify it. Because obviously wearing it could cause the adhesive to break and fracture and come off. But yeah, if you keep doing it, keep practicing it, you could get proficiency in that.
Okay, cool.
All right. Anybody else want to work on anything before the long rest? So camp sets up like normal. Rotation of guards like normal. Everybody go ahead and take your long rest. Please mark off 10 water tokens apiece, please. As unfortunately the first...
I said 3 was, yeah.
Well, no, unfortunately I rolled for the first day's journey of resource, and some of the others aren't doing as well as you guys. And the survivors, although they've managed to pack out quite a bit of resources from Femur Valley, they're not using it very efficiently either. So you guys have to kind of share your wealth, unfortunately, at this point.
Oh, some people aren't pulling their weight?
Or it's so fucking hot that pulling all this weight is just more than they realized, yeah. So we wake up to day 2. The group begins to kind of do its normal teardown of camp, beginning of the second day. At some point, Zephora, you hear during the travel of the 3-day travel session that we're currently in, you hear someone clear their throat, and you look over to see Callan kind of staring at you. Mr. Zephora, I was wondering if I could have a word with you.
Yes.
Your people have always intrigued me. There's not very many of you. You're aware of that, are you correct? Do you understand what this means?
Yes. There's not many of us.
Yeah, but do you know what that means, that there aren't very many of you?
Well, there's not a lot of us. There's few of us. So we're few.
I see that we're trapped in a circle. There needs to be a lot of you to make more of you, correct?
Well, yes, like I have my egg right here.
Ah, good. So you've been able to breed. I've heard that your breeding rituals are quite difficult. Did the
Well,
parents...
not for me.
Oh, you didn't kill him?
No, he lived.
He must be someone of great importance to you then, if you allowed him to live.
He left. He flew away and became a bird.
Bird? What's a bird? I don't know what that is.
A flying thing.
Oh. Interesting.
Oh.
How long have you been traveling with the others for?
It was like a month? Something. No, I'm asking you, has it been about like a month?
Yeah, about that. Because you met him in
About that.
Espis. Yeah, you met up
Right.
with them in Espis. Been a little over a month.
30 days.
And your thoughts so far on the humanoid condition? Do you know the difference between an Erephanian and a humanoid? Do you understand that meaning?
Oh. They're all meat people.
Meat people. I was not aware that that was a cultural reference for the Yanti. When you call them meat people, are you cannibalistic in nature? Do you eat people?
Well, I'm not cannibalistic because I'm not a person, but we do eat people sometimes.
So
You know what? Really good is Dragonborn heart. Oh,
you've
so
eaten.
good.
So
Right out of the chest is so delicious and it's so tender. Very fulfilling. It makes me feel so strong when I eat it.
yeah, give me an intimidation roll. I don't care that you don't mean to or not. You're fucking weird, dude.
Does it come roasted already
intimidation.
out of the body? It would be awesome.
Depending on how they
16.
die.
Not that great. I'm not trying, so I got a 16.
Yeah.
Instantaneous barbecue.
Kellen kind of, she looks at you and just kind of looks a little concerned at first, but then kind of gives you a knowing nod. I've never heard of a Yanti being taken as a slave, but there's a specific hate in your voice for those Dragonborn. Have you been enslaved previously?
Well, this is very hard for me to talk about, but because one thing I do feel right now is shame. I was sent on a mission to infiltrate the meat people and find out, information about them to take back to my people. While I was doing that, I was captured. I was made a food taster.
Oh, so you have some resistance to poison then?
Yes, and the master wasn't very nice to me. And one day they had a very huge party and someone did poison them. It wasn't me. But there was poison in the food. I decided to say that there wasn't. And then I watched the entire, 70, 80, 100 people writhing on the ground, coughing up blood, shitting themselves, their eyes bleeding. And when they all stopped writhing around, I gathered up my things and I left.
She doesn't seem to be all that shocked by your tale, but she stops you like near the tail end and goes, "So Zephora, if there was
Yes.
a way for you to get poison into an intended target, you might be best equipped to be able to do that then?"
Oh yes, when I met the party, I wanted to make sure that they knew I was resourceful. So I took some of Philip's poison. I wiped it on my lips, then I bet someone that they couldn't live after just one kiss from me, and guess what? They didn't.
Oh dear.
We brought him back and everything. He's okay. But it was fun. He didn't even know what hit him.
Yes, being okay is relative to one's point of view.
Oh, and I've been practicing.
Practicing.
Yes, practicing emotions.
Deception is what you've been practicing then?
Yeah. And now I can act very sad. And when people come to see if I'm okay, I stab them in the throat.
Yeah,
So I'm practicing that part.
Please don't practice on me. You're quite terrifying.
Very good lure. I was told not to do it to friends, so I'm not going to do it to friends anymore, people I know.
Oh, are we friends?
No. Dar and I are. Look.
Oh, you've
We're joined by
exchanged a
blood.
blood oath.
Yes, we're joined by blood
Interesting.
now. I'll kill for her.
I don't doubt it for an instant. She is quite intoxicating, isn't she?
I never really thought about that before, but
She clearly has power. You can feel it. There's something about her that I find difficult to understand.
she's very big and powerful.
Well,
And
yes.
she's picked me up and thrown me around, and it is
And I'm not going to lie, Zafar.
something about it.
Those amazing thighs, they are quite muscular in definition, are they not?
Yes, yes.
She's very powerfully built. And
Interesting.
and when she enfolds you in her arms, it feels really good. It made me feel good when that happened, but that's when I was putting a dagger under her throat. But that's beside the point.
So you're telling me that Dara likes it rough? Are you two a couple?
Oh my god! What?
Well, you said that she held you in your arms and you put a dagger to her. I just assumed
my
that was
God.
what you preferred. Are you in relations with her? Are you wives?
Oh, you mean intercourse? Things like that?
Well, that's circumstantial, I assure you. But I'm curious. Are you?
Circumstantial.
Mm,
I mean, being out here alone in the wastes and traveling for many days, weeks at a time, emotions often get raw and intrusive and obtrusive at the same time. I understand
Well,
that. But
when I was very, very, very small, I was having emotions, but they were beaten out of me.
oh, that's
So,
unfortunate.
It's hard for me to recall them. I was a very young child, very, very young person. I couldn't even talk. But I remember if I fell down and hurt myself, I was beaten. If I laughed or carried on, I was beaten. If I tried to give my mother or father affection, they would beat me. So after a while, I stopped having emotions. And they said it was good for me because it would help me in my profession.
Interesting. Is that why when I speak to you, it's very difficult for me to understand how you feel? I get the feeling that you're just merely saying words, then.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I'm sorry I don't have very many emotions, but I mean,
No, dear. I think.
sex does feel good. It's
well-
stimulating.
Yes, minus the knife, not my thing. But I
I have a thorn whip. But, you know, everyone has their own tastes, I
remind me
suppose.
not to drink around you. Anyways, this has been a very enlightening conversation. Thank you. Zafora, if I call upon you for a favor, would you be willing to help?
It depends what type of favor.
Oh, I don't know. Poisoning, murdering Gregor himself.
Yes, yes, and yes again. Now I'm feeling emotion.
Yeah, I'm beginning to formulate an idea, a plan, as they say.
Yes, I would love to kill him, and if I die in the attempt, it's okay.
Did you notice
So don't...
the interesting things your friend Merrick can do?
Oh, yes, he's delightful. He can kill people. He used to kill people. And he said he was really good at it. And it just made me like him so much.
Yes, but
I like being around him. He makes me feel like I'm normal.
He strikes me as a
Everyone else looks at
person.
me like,
He strikes me as a person that can walk between two worlds. He knows that sometimes he takes a physical form and sometimes a translucent form.
yes, I don't even know what that is, but I just accept it.
But imagine,
He's really good at killing people, he said.
well, I imagine if you could pass through solid walls at will,
Mm-hmm.
that would be quite the trick to have. And if you could pass through solid walls at will and help deliver somebody who is resistant to poison into the kitchens of Gregor, knowing that your two friends will be available to get you out once the deal is done, as they say.
Oh, I don't want to get them in any trouble. If I die, it's all right.
Oh, well,
When you're planning
you
on
really
things,
are the perfect friend, aren't you?
well, I don't know. When I was hurt and things during this whole time, they helped me. When I pretend I was sad, Dara came to give me a hug, and that makes me think they care about me. So I care about them in return. I'll kill and I'll die for them. That's as close as I can get to saying that I have friendships at this point. I'm trying. They're trying to teach me. Mistress Greenbottle tried to teach me, but it also seems very messy. Emotions seem really messy.
And as you say that about emotions, you watch as Callan looks over at Gray and then switches from them over to Dara. And then she kind of looks back at you and just goes, yes, they can be very messy. Well, thank you,
Makes
Zafora.
me not want to have them.
But you've given me much to think about. Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
So day 2 continues on. Anybody else want to do anything with day 2? Conversations? Anything they want to work on? I can't hear a word you're saying, Shannon.
I'm trying to convince my wife to stop trying to sleep with my girlfriend.
Maybe just try to squeeze in the middle of them. That might be your best choice.
I would love to be the Oreo cream filling for their sandwich cookie. I'd be quite happy. As they're both much taller than me and so much stronger.
Much bigger, stronger.
Much bigger
Yes,
and
yes.
stronger.
You
Oh,
watch-
No, I just have to have a bunch of muscly women around me. Oh,
As-
God.
As camp is being set up for at the end of the second night of the 3-day journey, there is a moment that you catch Callan is by herself and reviewing the map over at the surface that's been kind of set up on a flat rock, and she's got heavy rocks in the corners, and she's just studying the map, and she's writing in a journal, and you just kind of stand there watching her for about 5 or 10 minutes, and they just hear Callan's voice. Well, are you going to come over and talk to me, or are you going to stay out, just keep leering at me?
I assume this is in my head.
No, she knows you're there
Oh,
watching
so
her.
loud. Okay. Cool. Is she facing away from me?
Yes.
Got it.
She's kind of like hunched. You know how a general reads a map? You know, that hunched over the map in front of her, and she's making notes clearly and kind of absorbing all the information. And even while she's looking down, she just yells back over her shoulder at you. Your voice drifts. Huh?
Sorry, I was trying to have your back.
She stands straight up, turns, and there's just this ridiculous smile on her face. Well, that was the silliest thing I've ever heard.
Stick around me a little longer. It'll get sillier, I promise. And probably stupider.
She motions you over by the map, and you're kind of within about 2 feet of her. The two of you are kind of standing there, a little bit awkward, but familiar at the same time. It's only awkward due to a lack of memory of the intimacy, but the feeling and the vibe and that kind of intoxicating smell of her kind of just permeates the air. You feel something kind of smack at your leg, and it's your spider. Philip's looking up at you, holding the carcass of a snake. He drops it at your feet and just. And then. And he just kind of wanders off into the dark. Looks like he got it for you.
Hey, look. Our son is a very good boy.
Excuse me?
What?
She looks. Oh, sand snake. Very good for eating. She picks it up and sets it on the stone. Looks back at you. So what are we going to do about this, Gray?
The snake, probably cook it, I would guess.
No, these feelings, you nitwit. You know, we did kiss the other night. You remember that, right?
How could I forget that?
I'm just saying.
Yes, I seem to recall that happening, but because I'm the one that has much more information about this and memories, I'm the one that's not going to push, because I don't want you to feel... Look, Callan, obviously I still love you, because I never stopped. I just didn't know who you were for a period of time that I'm still trying to rectify that in my brain. But I'm not going to try to force you into something that you maybe don't want anymore out of obligation.
Well, considering my memory is a bit fuzzy on our relationship, I'm not going to deny that would definitely be strange, but sometimes forcing the lock off a door lets everything back in at once. Sometimes a door never opened is merely a memory never remembered. Do you have a talent for memories? I know.
To force the door open?
Well, these are difficult and dangerous times. I kind of feel like with my memory not currently intact, I'm missing information. I'm missing the understandings. You carry the clerical symbol around your neck. Do you have abilities to...
thoughts right now? Yes.
Does it hurt?
Huh?
Does the memory hurt or the act of remembering hurt?
Oh, a little? If I recall.
Tell me first what you remember.
How much time do you have?
All night.
So, once upon a time. And I just tell her, like...
Yeah, everything. Yeah. About 30, 40 minutes goes by, and the whole time she's leaning up against that stone. And give me an insight check. Merrick, Zephora, and Dara, give me perception checks, please.
Ten.
10.
Just a second.
What'd you get, Ivar?
I got a nat 20, so it'll be a 30.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Oh,
I know, right?
I got a 9. Total.
9. Merrick and Dara, you are very much busy with the entirety of setting up camp and doing some odd tasks around the space.
Hey, I know what I can be doing. I can be stone mode.
Okay.
Is that okay?
You're
like
doing some more
in
attunement with the
someone's
stone.
pocket.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, like
And Dar will say you're helping other people set up camp, prepare meals, and kind of do what you love to do with others. Zephora,
Yeah, I want to
Go ahead.
specifically check with Callan's people to make sure they're prepared too, because I kind of want an excuse to kind of be over by Callan too.
Okay. Zephora, you're the only one that's currently leaning up against a very shadowy boulder, and you're watching a very intense conversation go on between Grayson and Callan. at this point, neither of who see you, but your refined hearing is very much picking up everything that they're saying to each other.
Who am I getting like emotions that I can copy later on?
Yeah, with that perception check, absolutely. There's both passion, fear, and these are just kind of brewing out of the two of them an intense kind of like this intense energy that you're just kind of absorbing their conversation. And right now, Grayson seems to be telling Callan a story about how Grayson got their memory back, and they're retelling it to their former wife, current wife that they thought was dead. So you're picking up on a lot of some of the more intimate moments of Grayson's past. Callan just stares at you, Gray. Looks.
I got 22, by the way.
Okay. Her features soften. The furrow of her brow seems to kind of soften as well. And she leans in very close to you, both uncomfortably and comfortably at the same time. I want my memory back of you. It's not fair for me to make a decision without it. I need it. Can you get it back for me?
I have several things in my arsenal that I can try right now.
Proceed. I trust you.
Oh, those are the words. Okay. Let's go ahead and first of all attempt to dispel magic.
Give me a d20.
Okay.
Sephora's seeing and hearing this, and she's also thinking that she remembers that Gray and Dara had like a thing or feelings for each other too, right?
I'll say off that same perception roll, you get the feeling that the emotions playing out between Gray and Callan are at a higher level than the emotions that you remember Dara and Gray playing out earlier on in your knowing them. You're beginning to experience two very different levels of emotion is what you're experiencing.
Okay.
17.
17. There's a barrier there that feels familiar, but from your own memory, he was a very powerful user of magic. And you get the feeling that this first attempt of dispel magic just wasn't quite good enough to dispel that barrier that he's put there to protect Callan.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna just keep trying until she stops me. I'm gonna use all my spells.
Say that again, I couldn't hear you.
So, well, I'm gonna just keep trying until she stops me, and I'll guide myself because God, I forgot I had that.
Yeah. Go for it. Give me another d20.
Can you bless yourself? No, because it's too concentration. Never mind.
Right. They don't stack.
Again.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Try again if you want, if you have the spell slots.
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep. I'm gonna try a different d20 though.
Yeah, that was bad.
Well, 17 is still pretty good. It's just not quite what she needs.
Way worse. Carrying on. Let's try this. Okay. Might have something, boys. Okay. 21.
The sweat is just beating on your forehead because even at night, it's still almost 100 degrees as the first beginnings of the season of heat are just horrific. And she sees that you're struggling. She goes to grab you as you're kind of getting kind of like overtaken by the heat. And then you just, one last time, that extra effort, that push into the barrier of her mind. And you watch as she just stops in front of you. Her eyes kind of glaze over. And she's almost like disconnected from herself for a few very long minutes. Like, to you it feels like hours, but you know it's only been a few minutes. And then she begins to blink, and she moves her head and she looks at you. Gray, you're supposed to be dead.
Yeah, you died.
She just immediately takes you into a very strong embrace and just throws your head back, and very familiar to the very passion that you've had with her before. And Zephora, you're just watching all this emotion play out as Gray and Callan, just for a solid minute, exchange a very powerful kiss with each other. Not malicious, not like two people that haven't seen each other in years and thought they never would. And then finally there's kind of like a pause as they take a moment. Where have you been? Why?
Did it work? I'm guessing it worked. Or I just got really hot.
No. Well, you're still hot, dear. You've always been hot.
Still. Huh?
Where?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Where have you been? Where have I been? Why am I?
Great question. I have questions.
I have thousands of questions.
Can the first one be? Can we be somewhere where people aren't watching us really fast?
Zephora, give me a stealth
Or
check,
are
please.
I don't know.
Okay.
Zephora's the only one watching this conversation. Everybody else is busy.
I've learned my lesson from last time. God damn it!
18.
18. You watch as Callan looks at you and then looks in like a very dark, shadowy space and goes, yes, let's find somewhere else to have this conversation. And she kind of leads you to the very outskirts of camp, where this more like kind of like reclusive outcropping of rocks and thorn bush, kind of enough break between the camp and you, but not so much that if you were in trouble, you guys couldn't yell out and have help nearby. Zephora, you watch as they disappear into the darkness. You lose track of them. You get the sense that this might be an intrusion, a word that kind of creeps into your psyche for the first time.
I'll go find my blood friend, Dara.
And you hear a voice in your head. Thank you, Zephora. I appreciate the kindness. And it's Callan's voice.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. What kindness did I do?
You took a moment. Callan leads you off to the side, Gray. The two of you stare at each other awkwardly, but embrace again. She sits down on a rock and goes, before your questions, is the stonewood still there?
Yes.
Is the council still aware that you're alive?
As far as I know.
So you went ahead with the vision quest then? You drank from the mushroom?
Well, yeah.
Why would you do that? We promised each other we weren't going to participate, no matter what your parents said that we must do. You promised. Why did you choose to do that?
Well, I mean, I lost you, and the only reason for me to really not do that, and I needed something to focus on.
What do you mean you lost me?
As far as I know, you died.
Oh. Oh, well, I guess that does change one's perspective. Sorry that you had to go through that.
Is that maybe the reason that I focused all of my time learning the magics related to death? Maybe. You don't know.
Fair point. We've all seemed to have learned new tricks these days. You watch as she conjures an illusion in front of you. It's like a...
Restrain myself from the obvious joke.
You watch as she conjures an illusion of your favorite wreath of flowers, and she kind of puts it on the ground in front of you. You watch as she manipulates it and causes the illusion to grow out, swirl around you, and kind of like explode outward, just sparkles of lights and color just kind of fading with the effect. So, if you've drinking from the cup, did you have your vision then?
Yeah. You know.
Something you feel like sharing, or is it still too personal?
You remember.
Well, now I remember everything.
Well, obviously, our everythings are a little bit different because I thought you died, you thought I died.
Yes, I remember family members of your Warren taking me out of the Stonewood. They abandoned me out in the wastes. But I think when they did that, my memory had already been shattered, broken. They told me that strangers were not allowed in the Stonewood and that I must find my own way. It was all very confusing when they made me do it because my memory was shattered. Everything I knew was gone. So I imagine they simply told you that I died? They were of your Warren. My memory is quite specific about who took me out to the waste.
Warren or specifically family members?
Your Warren, I don't believe your parentage were directly involved, but the Warren that you were a part of clearly did not want me around anymore. Clearly the intent was to force you to drink the mushroom broth and find your vision. And evidently I wasn't going to be in the way of that. And I think when there's a bit of a sniffle and a little bit of a tear, I believe when he saved us, he saved us for this purpose, but I don't know why I feel that way about what he did. I almost wonder if maybe just not letting us die there at the council would have just been a lot easier for the both of us. She kind of shakes her head and just looks at you strangely.
Okay, so I remember going to the council and arguing,
I remember that as well.
right? And then what happened right after that?
I remember waking up on the back of a Stonewood raptor. 4 members of your Warren were taking me out to the wastes. They told me strangers were not welcome, and I was set loose. That's all I remember. But our stories are the same. I remember our life together beforehand. I remember us arguing with the council, and then he protected us. He was convinced that the vision quests were fruitless and a waste of time, and he knew that to do so was simply to condemn us to death. We both agreed. The council did not. They destroyed him, and in the process destroyed our memories, but there was a little bit left of him that altered that effect. I have a feeling that it was not intended to be reversed. I think he was the one that allowed it to be reversed.
Interesting.
He gave his life so that we could eventually find each other again.
Don't know if I believe that, but it's an interesting theory. I
Well.
think that maybe, I don't know, maybe I was able to do that because I know cool magic. But sure, we can give him credit for it, I guess.
She just looks at you. Why so glum, Gray? What do you mean? Of course your magic brought my
Over
memory
there, and
back.
I'm over here, and there's too many feet in between us right now, Callan. It's difficult.
She walks over and sits on the rock that you're sitting on and kind of leans up against you. I understand.
This is an improvement. This is a definitive improvement. It's very cold outside, you see. We must stay together for warmth, Callan.
Yes. Well, I doubt they'll miss us tonight. You watch as she opens up her raptor pack and lays out a blanket on the ground. Shall we revisit old memories since they're back?
And maybe I can show you some of those new tricks.
So the two of you drift off into your long rest, although you probably will both be waking up with a... You're both going to wake up with a point of exhaustion.
Yes.
Worth it.
Zephora,
Absolutely
bored
worth it.
with overhearing their conversation, and they drift off into the darkness. You make your way back towards the center of camp, and there's Dara kind of over by where Mikhail and Rakim and the halfling and elf are just kind of all talking to each other. Dara's talking with them as well. You walk right past Merrick. He seems almost in like a meditative state, crisscrossed applesauce on the ground. You can see a soft glowing stone in his hand as he seems to be just kind of communing with it, focusing on it. You walk past the group of camp that makes up where the survivors, and you can hear the sounds of just mundane activity. People cleaning, eating, talking, laughing. You make your way over. Dara, you can see Zephora is making a beeline right towards you. I think you're muted.
Yeah. I'm just gonna look.
Sorry. Is there alcoholic beverages in the camp?
Yeah, there's usually either desert beer, cactus wine. There's the thorn brine whiskey that they keep. This is all of the alcohols that Callan's group has bottled up and brought with them.
I'll see if I can get some of the whiskey, like a big cup of whiskey.
Fair enough. They have a ceramic, poorly made ceramic cup that you kind of pour and fill with the whiskey.
All right, now I go see Dara.
Dara, Zephora is kind of like walking towards you. Give me an insight check, Dara.
$17.
17. For the first time in your life, you're watching Zephora walk towards you, and there's a hint of emotion in her face.
Zephora, I'm reading emotion. Is everything all right?
Come over here.
Okay.
Here, sit down.
Just slowly sit down, just looking like inquisitively.
I'm not trying to lure you into your death. Don't worry.
That's for
Good.
another night.
Here, drink all of this.
All of it. Zephora, why are you... Just tell me, what's going on?
Well,
I will take a sip, though.
It's brackish. It's very sour.
I kind of keep
it's
pushing
a
it
heavy...
up when she's drinking it. All of it.
You wash it down.
Not all of it. I
Yeah.
need to pace half of it.
Give me a con save to see how well you drink it.
Lol. Okay. That is a 6.
As you're doing that, Sephora, she just starts coughing on it. It's like
Oh,
spitting out of her mouth.
sorry. I have to tell
Or
you something.
this is ridiculous. Just tell me.
Oh, all right. Well, I've just seen other people do that when, you know, you're going to tell somebody that something that might give them the emotion of sadness. So I just wanted you to be ready for it. And I know people sometimes drink alcoholic beverages.
What is going to make me sad?
Well, I overheard Callan and Gray, they were talking.
Nope, don't want to know.
Okay, well, anyway, she did some magic. Gray did some magic on Callan, and Callan remembers things that she forgot.
You tell her
and
no, you don't want to know, and she just tells you.
then they went away together, and I lost sight of them. So I just don't want you to be sad about it.
Okay.
Hence the whiskey.
Dara's gonna finish the rest of the whiskey just slowly.
Yeah.
See what I told you. See, I was right. I did the right thing. I brought some whiskey.
You did the right thing,
Yeah,
Zephora. But I mean, when somebody tells you they don't want to know, it means they don't want to know. That's not a game. That's a statement.
Well, I just thought you should know so that you don't be sad. That you'll be
Zephora, give me a quick insight check.
armored.
Give me a quick insight check. This is a new emotion that you're beginning to observe.
Okay. Insight.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my insight? There it is. 16. So a dirty 20.
You've heard the word disappointment kind of stated before. You get the distinct impression that Dara is very disappointed in you.
I understand, Zephora,
I feel
though.
like you're very disappointed in me, but like, we have this now. And I felt like you said that friends do things for each other. So I was just trying to help and be a friend to you.
Just gonna sigh and just kind of like soften and just go over and hug Zephora and be like, "Thank you for being a friend."
Oh, I give her one of those Temple Grandin hugs that like are really hard and they last for a long time.
Okay, that's a good length. Okay.
Like, I do have a little constrictor in me, so yeah, I feel like, that snake-like strength.
Oh my.
My mind went in so many different directions with that
Oh,
one.
you're not the only
Right.
one, my friend.
Just stop it, you guys. We're having a moment. Keep your minds out of the gutter for just a second.
Oh, what
It's a
the
beautiful
fuck?
moment of friendship.
What the
That's
fuck is a
right.
gutter?
Keep your minds out of the lower parts of the desert where the acid runs.
Fair point.
Okay, well, I'm sorry you're disappointed in me. I was just trying to be a good friend. So
I know.
I find, see, this is what I don't like about emotion, because I try to do the thing that I think is right, and then it ends up being wrong, and I hurt people. So I don't know quite what to do now.
I'm no longer disappointed. Don't stop trying to learn just because you don't want to make me feel bad. It's just sometimes the bad feelings are things I don't want to experience either. And even with the best intentions, they can make people kind of sad, but it's better to know. You're right. It's better to have the knowledge of what's going on and how things are.
So, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
If Callan was out of the way, that would help you?
No, it wouldn't. Callan is a good person. Callan's doing a lot of good in the world, and Gray is our friend too, and we want Gray to be happy, and Gray's happy
Right.
with Callan, and that's okay.
So if Callan wasn't here, then you could be, it make you happy because you could be with Gray.
But Callan is here, and that's okay.
So it's something you just want to work out on your own. You don't need any. know.
I'll work out this one on my own, but thank you, Sephora.
Oh,
Thank you, Sephora. If I do need help, I promise you'll be the first one that I'll let know.
okay. Because friends kill for each other.
They do. Friends kill for each other. Thank you.
Right. Okay.
Put that on a t-shirt.
All right. Well, I'm going to stay with you to comfort you, which is to be a friend and be here if you need to be. I'll just sit here quietly.
They'll just comfortably chill.
Okay.
Well,
For you, Merrick, give me a charisma save, please.
I have to do it here, but I would like to have a conversation, an internal conversation with the thing inside of me.
Oh, we're working our way towards that, my
That is
friend.
all.
Yeah,
Now
who's
I
minds
think
together to knock it off.
so. That's going to be a charisma save.
Correct.
It's trying to roll, and it's a net 1, a total of 4.
Oh, we know what happens with the conduit stone when people roll nat ones, right? We've seen
Oh,
Harrow. We've
oh,
seen
there's
Harrow
a-
go through this.
Precedent for this. I see.
Merrick, all the conversation and noise around you begins to drift away as you feel the tendrils of the power of the stone briefly kind of pulse into your psyche. The tendrils seem to be probing at the edge of your brain matter. At first, you feel one memory slip away. And you can feel the stone coalesce with a bit of heat and energy in your grip. That memory floats up to the front of your eye. You're not sure if anyone else could see this. It doesn't matter. Your translucent hands with the conduit stone kind of glowing softly keeps you distracted enough that part of you is staring at the memory and part of you is wondering just what the fuck this stone really is. The memory is a valley. In this valley, it is thick with tree growth. You can see at the very end of the valley a sheer cliff face that goes up almost like a half mile in height. Falling from the very tip of this cliff face is a waterfall that seems like it just takes forever for it to churn and fall. You can almost feel the water spray hit you as you're staring at this memory. And you can hear a disembodied voice in your mind. You've been there. I knew when Harrow left there was a reason why he picked you. You've been to the focal point. You've been to the Great Pyramid of Mur. His seat is there. The power that he left behind is there. This memory proves that you were there. You can feel the tendrils poke and prod at your brain again. I need you to take 21 points of psychic damage as another memory is ripped out of your brain matter and kind of puffs out in front of you. Now you're above the sheer cliff face and looking down at this waterfall that just descends for a half mile before crashing into a massive lake of water that spreads out into this huge, lush forest. At the very top of this surface, where the water's coming from, is a great obelisk, a great pyramid And on the very top of the pyramid, you can see a massive stone hand up and in the air with its fingers like this. And in this massive stone hand, you can see a small structure. And then your memory pulls you deeper into this small structure. And that same disembodied voice kind of, yes, continue. Do not hesitate. Continue. And your body drifts, your mind drifts into this structure set in this hand. You find yourself floating in front of this doorway. You open the door. Clicks open. Inside are at least a dozen or more individuals just like you. Whites, disembodied memories, fractured agents of time. And they all turn in unison at your entrance. And then everything just decays around you. And everything collapses in, and you just hear this voice, what a pity, what a pity. And then you're conscious again, you're holding the stone, the sounds of the camp start coming alive around you again. Sitting there in the darkness, Zephora and Dar are exchanging niceties. The camp as a whole seems to just be going on to the night like normal. What would you like to do?
So my conversation with the stone ends here. I lost this memory. I don't have the memory itself.
You have the feeling of a memory, but
I know I'm forgetting something.
Yeah, but it's been replaced with this experience that you just had with the conduit stone.
Oh, I see. Okay. I'll try to focus and ask. So I guess our objective in the Femur Valley is done.
There's no response, just a cold, empty feeling. The feeling that there's a bit of disappointment. Something's missing. Not really sure what it is. The conduit stone is not all that dissimilar than you. It is sentience from a period of time that was formed during very desperate intent. It's already revealed to you that Arcanum poured his entire existence into the stone with the intent of using that power to bring the old world back. Not all that dissimilar than you, as you remember what it was like when that world came into existence and you had to serve the feet of that brutal mistress you called Tolona. The histories have always been rife with those who write it based on those who win it. But now you're beginning to sense a different kind of reality. If Lord Arcanum...
Well, I am also really pissed that I lost one of the few memories I had, and I don't even have a way to know what it was. And I am now doubting the motivations of this conduit stone thing, but leave it for later. Continue my reflections in silence. I'm also absolutely certain that Callum was the objective. After speaking to her leadership, the way she fits the entire needs that I had as someone who is trying to understand this world, she knows everything. She knows who is who everywhere. So yeah, like it seems fate, and the way everyone else in my group is tied to her somehow. It seems right. So yeah, I'll stick with her, for now.
Feeling the warmth of the stone, and although there's a visible kind of, or there's your own kind of internal understanding of what just happened, you take a moment to not only reflect on the stone, realizing that Lord Arcanum clearly poured the concept of saving the world in this stone, but didn't so clearly define on how to do it. Whether that was intentional or not, you're not really sure. But there's a warmth here. And for the first time since you passed on into the Wraith world, you watch as the stone grants you just a moment of respite. And your physical self as you were manifests itself. You can feel the blood pumping through your veins. You can hear the thump of your heartbeat, the growl of a hungry stomach, the dry thirst of the physical manifestation.
Why is it so hot in here? What's going on?
Sweat for the first time
Feeling
beating on
like
your forehead in
my
half a
fluids
millennia.
coming out of my body. Why?
And then it lets go back into your controllable form that's neither here nor there. All of you eventually, whether entwined in legs, arms, and the passion of feelings, slightly tipsy and buzzed, sharing experiences between Zephora and Dara, or the sudden reflection and understanding of just how dangerous things could get. And for the first time in a long time, for the four of you, things are uniquely calm.
Uh-oh.
You find yourself taking your long rest, so click off long rest off your sheet to recover whatever you need to recover. All of you wake up the following morning. Gray, you wake up to Callan kind of nudging you with an elbow. Gray, get up. The others must be up already. We must get going.
I know that I'm supposed to get up right now, but what if it just did?
Give me a persuasion check.
Oh gosh. With advantage because why? 2.
2. Ray, get up. We can certainly talk about this tonight, if you catch my meaning.
Make me.
Oh, make yourself. And her naked form just kind of goes over to pick up her clothes. Give me a dex check.
Let's go, wife.
Takes them vows serious.
Dex check 4.
4. She easily just kind of leaps over your foot, gives you a knowing glance, and goes like that.
And I understand that we have things to do, but look, I'm just saying, you could get a lot accomplished from right here.
No, I can assure you, we would get nothing accomplished from right here. But
I believe we would accomplish satisfaction.
Yes, that was last night. Now this is this morning.
Man. I know that we had first satisfaction, but what if we had second and third?
Give me another persuasion check.
With advantage
This
because
camp ain't going nowhere today.
6.
6. She just looks at you.
We have a lot of time to make up for it.
Yes, we do. And knowing what I know now, things have changed. I have no intention of keeping this a secret.
What?
She leans down, she holds her hand out down to you, her half-naked form kind of wrapped partially in her clothes. Please, Stand up, Gray. Get dressed.
Stand up.
Because after we get to Death's Hollow, and she leans in and gives you a very short, passionate kiss and kind of withdraws. After we get to Death's Hollow, I have a new target in mind. And she's now like putting on her clothes. She's lacing up her raptor boots. And then she...
Something about bullseye, something.
And she looks at you and she goes, I think before we take our fight to Gregor, before we accept Soot's hand in friendship, I think it's time for you and me to go home first. Time for us to take this conversation back to the Stonewood. And don't forget, they are currently 5 miles up in the air. It'll be tricky. Because during the season of heat, they take the entire capital and ascend it to avoid the heat on the ground. The best opportunity we're going to have to catch them at their weakest moment.
Cullen, as much as I adore just fucking about and avoiding the rest of the world, are we sure that our thing needs to come before freeing people from slavery?
Oh, this isn't about our thing, dear. This is about acquiring more allies. Those who owe us a debt. And for the years they've stolen from us, they owe us a fucking debt.
You see, you always were the more practical one. You could see how to make a pit stop for maybe murder and vengeance turn into allies that will be good for everybody else. Very impressive.
Well, to be fair, I'm not exactly intent on murder and vengeance in that way. I merely think they owe us an explanation.
Sure.
And if their explanation doesn't suit us, then they owe us more.
At least a hand, maybe?
I think that is an appropriate way of putting it, absolutely.
I don't hate a lot of people, but now, knowing that they took you from me for the purposes of, I don't know, sending me on this vision quest or just separating us because they just really, really didn't like us for some reason, It's a very warm feeling, in the middle of your soul, just that fire burning. You kind of want to use to light somebody on fire for what they've done. You know what I'm saying? Ever felt that?
Wish I could hear this conversation.
Hey, Uber Geek Media, thanks for the raid. Much appreciated. I don't know if I want to go that dark, Gray. What?
Cullen, that's only a few shades darker than me.
Well, I don't want to. Well, there are a few I
You
do
don't want to, man.
that I do want to hurt, but I'm.
They didn't like us being together just from the get-go, and look at what they did.
No, I understand, but is it possible?
Is what possible?
Is it possible
Yeah.
that I've lost my synchronized notes? Trying to remember. I'm trying to remember the capital of Stonewood, and I was looking at my regional section of OneNote, and I couldn't fucking find it. I know it's something Heart. It's like Everheart or something like that. Look, I'm not really sure that Soot and the small group I've assembled is going to be enough to take us all the way into Wyndham. I'm no fool, I understand. But now that I have all my memories back, There's a force back in the Stonewood that may be amenable to helping us. Sure, us drow and the highborn elves have existed side by side for many centuries to, well, they have people that may be willing to help us, that people that weren't all that keen on the vision walks and the hope of abandoning Sinder. Some want to stay, some want to help bring this place back. I think it's worth going back to the Stonewood to find these allies, convince them to join us.
That's gonna be your job. I'm not really good at the convincing.
Oh, I don't know. You convinced me quite well last night. I think you undersell yourself.
Well, look. Thank you. And also, you're just much better at it. As much as I hate to admit that I'm not the most charismatic individual.
Well, lucky for you, I'm not in love with your charisma. However, that mouth is somewhat of an affectionate thing that I am quite enamored with. And she just kind of, oh, well, shit, 10 more minutes, they won't miss us. And she kind of like tears off her clothes, and the two of you do the whole entangled limbs again.
Good. Good.
Zephora, Merrick,
Spicy session.
Zephora, Merrick, Dar, all of you wake up to this familiar sound of camp being broken down. And all three of you can clearly hear Mikhail and Pharaoh kind of, so where is she? Why is she not here? We're supposed to be getting on. Rakim kind of comes over between the two. Just give her a few more moments. She'll be back. She's probably just using the bathroom. Don't worry. There's plenty to do. We know the routine. And this quickly sends everybody kind of back to what they're doing, packing their packs, getting the raptors loaded up, getting everything organized like normal.
Yeah, like when you woke up, Sephora slept outside your tent. And then she's got like breakfast for you when you wake up and everything. This is what friends do, right? When another friend's not feeling well.
Oh, thank you, Sephora. I'm okay though. Do you want to eat it with me? And shouldn't we invite Merrick and where's Gray?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen them. But everyone about, so.
Eventually, the two of you kind of having this conversation. Merrick kind of drifts over to where he can see the two of you.
Hello.
Merrick?
Eric, quit hugging your rock and come and eat with us.
Do you know that
Eat?
anime style of like shady eyes, like darkened eyes? That's me, walking next to you.
Did you just witch hunter? Did you just witcher? Did you just witchered Zephora?
Do you remember how good pooping felt last time? If you eat something, you can poop again. You'll feel good.
Roll for poop.
What roll is that? You tell me which roll that is, and I'll roll it.
I know. Is it?
I need my rage
Persuasion?
power
Do I need to
for
roll
what we are
persuasion?
going to do.
Well, it'll be the first. It'll be the second one in 500 years. So maybe athletics.
See if the muscles still work.
No, I have something to tell you about this. I'm going to give you 10 of those water tokens for you each, because I have 37, and I'm going to keep 7 for myself to make it round and in case of emergency. But like I don't need those.
plenty of.
Yeah, I have like
Water
300 of them.
Yeah, you need to keep those because I don't know. I have a feeling
Well,
you're
we
going to
can
have
use
to
it.
drink sometime and eat and poop and do things like other meat people do. It'll make
I'm
you feel
afraid.
normal. It'll make you feel more like,
I do
when
demand.
you're with.
I think he will understand me. It will make me less efficient at killing.
Oh, don't do that then.
By the way, I demand
You
a
can give us the water
T-shirt.
tokens then.
I demand a
Hand them
T-shirt
over.
that says "Meat People" on it, and then a picture of a meat people.
Right.
I take
you have
this
to blend
water
in with the
out
meat
away
people.
from me. I don't need water. I shouldn't need water. I should be able to do my job. That's it.
Dara and Zephora, give me insight checks really quick.
Ooh, that was good.
Dirty 20.
Okay.
24.
Between the two of you, you get the sense that something must have happened to Merrick recently. The sudden fixation on not needing water, the sudden fixation on not needing food, this sudden insistence that he is what he is and not what he's about, not what he thinks he's trying to become, or what you think his dual existence is causing him to experience. It's strange, to say the least.
Dara's gonna look at Zephora and kind of like, can you like tilt her head like, are you getting this? And then turn back towards Merrick and be like, something's different about you.
Yes. I have been turned into a wraith recently.
That's casual. What does that mean?
I mean, I used to be alive and now I'm a wraith, so I'm pretty different now.
Would we
Oh,
know
you mean like
what a wraith
you
is?
mean like in the past? Oh, right.
I mean,
But you mean like in the last few years? Something? In the last few days.
I'll say Zephora, based on your history, and Dara, based on your traveling post-slavery history, the two of you give me history checks. Just give me good old-fashioned history checks.
Blah, 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 history.
4.
I got a 5!
As far as you two are
We
concerned,
don't know what the hell you are.
well, yeah, I mean, you realize that Merrick speaks of himself as a lineage. Wraith is a lineage as far as he's concerned. The two of you have never heard or seen anything like Merrick before. So a lot of this is like new conjecture, new kind of information for the two of you. You've always kind of felt something off or odd about him, but you just assumed that maybe he's just a magical being that can control their physical manifestation to when it suits them. But you're beginning to suspect there's something a little bit deeper here. There's something more nuanced about what Merrick truly is. Sure, he was born of a memory of Harrow and the relationship of that memory to the conduit stone, bringing Merrick into this world. But I don't know, there's more there, but it's a difficult puzzle. It's a hard one to read.
But to your question, do you think I've changed from like a short period of time to no? Short, like a day?
Well, you were trying things, and then now you don't want to try things anymore. You were trying to eat and do things that meat creatures do, and then you've given up your water tokens, and you say you don't need to drink or eat or anything. So you were doing it, and now you're stopping, so that's different.
And you seem darker.
I see your point.
Moody.
So why is that?
Oh.
What made you change your mind?
Well, okay, maybe we should have conversation about this stone. Where did you find it after all?
It was here when I got here, so maybe Dara knows.
Dara?
Where we got the stone.
Dara's
This
like,
stone is
Oh, maybe we don't know.
Oh, Dara knows.
You
She's
don't
just
know.
she's just
Yeah, we know. We got this down.
Okay,
she's
I
just
know, I figured
calculating
that.
her answer. She's trying to figure
No, I
out.
know. That's what the funny part was for me. I was like, I know you know. She's
This
being
stone
sneaky.
is tied to something greater. You know that, right?
We do. We got into the vault of Arcanum, and we know it holds great power, and we know what it's capable of doing when somebody's not worthy. But as far as specifics of exactly what it can do, Hara was trying to figure it out, but we're not as versed in those kind of magics. But it should be able to bring back the world.
Okay. Well, it has given me a vision in exchange of one of my own memories. Maybe the knowledge it contains is part of its power. And, well, the vision is very confusing. Do you know what a waterfall is?
Like these tokens they turn into falling down. Why would you waste water like that?
Imagine it bursting from the ground and falling, and we call it a waterfall.
What, like the ground and the water comes up?
It's a little more complicated than that, but yes.
Clearly, that's
ridiculous. Yeah, it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It's
Actually,
ridiculous that we don't have any more of those, in fact.
Doesn't that book I have talk about it?
Yes, we should take a look at this book and try to compare notes, because the vision I had was about some kind of ritual that was taking place on top of waterfall, and there was a statue, and there was an entrance through that statue. It's all very confusing. I would have...
Statue was a door.
Well, let's just go to it. Where's it at?
Okay, so everything in this new world that I'm living now is completely different. I have little hope that my knowledge will lead us anywhere.
Do I remember like anything that Mistress Greenbottle told me about that kind of thing? Because
I'll say with
trying
this,
to bring back the old world.
Yeah, with this conversation, both Zephora and Dara, give me survival checks.
Survival. 16.
Okay. Dara?
1 sec, sorry.
Dara zoned out.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
I'm real stressed. That was a nat 1. I apologize.
No worries.
Like even my dice roll punished me for that.
Zephora, based on the extensive description that Merrick gives you about that dream, that memory, or whatever he believes it to be, it sounds very similar to a conversation you remember overhearing during your servitude days, when you were in servitude of that noble family. They had often talked about sending a team to attempt to discover a long lost dedication ritual to a god they believed that was called Cinderfen. Or Inderfan, my bad, Inderfan. That was one of the twins of the two, Symphoneus and Inderfan. And that they believed that this would give them power to utilize against Titan's Fall and the Highborn politics. And there was a great deal of conversing back and forth over a map of a place called the Ashen Valley. It was said to have once been a great mountainscape before it was sundered and leveled almost to nothing. And then the following evening, everybody was killed. So you're free to share as much of that as you want.
So, my slave family, my slaver family that owned me, often talked about sending some expedition into the Ashen Valley to do some type of ritual with one of the twins that would possibly give them more power. So maybe that's where it's at.
Dara, when Sephora says this, you know exactly where the Ashen Valley is. It's on the entire opposite side of Erephan, a good 3-4 months journey deep into the north. It borders the war zone region between northern Titan's Fall, or the northern central plain, and Soot's Shattered Collar region, where a great series of massive armed forts exist along a very long line of confrontation that's been going on for well over 200 years between the Dwarven North and the forces at Titan's Fall. And then near the northwestern portion of the Shattered Collar is a great wasteland where most of the Goliaths call home, called the Ashen Valley. About as much as you know about it.
The Ashen Valley, it would take us months and months to get there. That's just,
Well,
it's all...
Mistress Greenbottle talked of how exactly what Misty friend here was talking about, and she said that there used to be tall things with green stuff on them and water flowing and massive pools of water. And it can be again. And that's what her and some of her people were trying to accomplish. And I feel like it's my duty to her to try to realize that fate for this world.
By the way, Dara, now that I think about it, have you ever wondered what carved the valleys?
I mean, the wind rips the sand around and morphs the land, and some people think it was the gods that did it.
Yeah, like it's peculiar when you pour water by accident in the sand. It makes the same kinds of patterns as you would see if you watch the land from above. It was water that carved the valleys. All valleys are ancient river beds. Now imagine this world.
That amount of water. How could that be true? Why don't we have any now if there was that much water?
So I think for the possibility of bringing back the old world, a few months of travel is a very reasonable price to pay. But I would say it's a bet.
And maybe I don't know. There's so much else to do here. Maybe we can talk about that.
Let's finish what we have to do, and keep that in mind for later. I agree with you.
I think we should loop Gray in as well, and it's going to take us all. That's going to be a hard journey, and we already have hard tasks ahead of us. Who's to say?
By the way, where is Gray?
Callan,
Can someone go get
talked about all of the rulers in this land. It's ruled because they have power over water. So if we were able to bring water to the land, they would lose all their power.
Do you think they have access to more water than we know about?
Well, if they're making it into coins to pass out for trade and barter and what have you, imagine what they have at their houses. I mean, do I remember seeing like at the house that I was enslaved in, like their use of water there?
Worse than that, Dara has a very distinct memory of what it was like traveling through the Avoste underground family estate.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
with
I do remember seeing
you know,
that.
with the massive pools of water that they magically.
That's why I said more than we knew about.
Yeah,
because like that was a lot, but what's being described is like ridiculous enough.
Yeah, now we're talking about oceans and lakes and just vast amounts of water to change the very face of Sinder itself and strip the Highborn of their control of it. Sephora, water for you is a whisper. You barely ever saw it. You barely were able to serve it. It was something that was only ever used specifically for currency. This trip with this being on Espis and finding these new friends, this is the most water you've been around or even personally consumed in your entire life. That household you were a part of never used water, ever.
Okay. Well, I do believe what Mr. Screenbottle told me. I've never seen it personally, but she committed to, I don't know, a lot of her time and effort into telling me all about how it used to be and how it could be this way again. And I believed her. And now, Merrick's memories or whatever they are, or whatever he is, obviously knows more about it. He used to live those times. I do believe what he's saying.
I am what Harrow was looking for, and he found me somehow. And the conduit stone made me material. That's how I came to be. Otherwise, I would just have faded when my utility was gone.
Maybe it was fate that brought you here. You have the memories of the old world. You can guide us to where we need to go and what we need to do.
I'm willing to go, of course. It's just, it's all so crazy, but I see the importance.
I don't know, I liked the thought of disrupting the slavers, and Callan has a very special thing for me to do. And I might not come back, but to know that you'll continue to work toward that with Merrick's help, that would really be helpful.
Zephora, why aren't you coming back? Is there something you need to share with us? But where is Gray? This is just a lot of information.
Do you want? I know the last place I saw them. I could go back to where they were and see if they're there. They slunk off.
I'll stay here if you want to go check on them.
Okay. So I run over there.
So as this conversation takes a pause, Zephora, you quickly go back in the direction you remember where they were. But as you make your way in that direction, Gray and Callan are already walking back towards camp at this point. They're very disheveled looking, hurriedly putting clothes back together, kind of like taking care of hair, and they exchange smiles. They're almost kind of giggling with each other as they kind of walk by you. And they both at the same time look at you, go, "Good morning, Zephora," and they just giggle as they walk by you.
Gray, I think you need to be part of this discussion we're having.
Zephora, give me an insight check.
Okay.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
My insight check is going to be 24.
Yeah, Gray's about as happy as you've ever seen them.
Satisfied.
Oh, I just take it all in, every little nuance of the emotion of happiness. So I can, like, replicate it later if need be.
Maybe. Gross.
Yeah,
Hate it.
this, like the
Gross.
happy,
Anyway.
sated,
Don't steal
happy,
my
sated,
afterglow.
kind of tired look.
Anyway, this what conversation do we need to what?
Oh, you're really out of it, aren't you?
I'm very tired.
Yes, well, we're having a conversation about maybe, I don't know, going somewhere, and we'd like to see what you think of it. Maybe Callan, too.
Where are we talking about going?
Oh, Dara's tent. We're over there eating.
Got it. I meant larger. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, I'll let everyone tell you.
Large picture, small picture.
Larger
Yes,
scale.
that's where we're going right this instant, but
All right.
we'll talk about where we want to go later when we're all together.
Okay.
So the four of you are now together in front of Dara's tent. There's a half-eaten meal, small fire going. Merrick and Dara kind of see you come over. Dara, Merrick, give me insight checks, please.
$18.
18.
Eight.
8. Merrick,
Nice.
you are oblivious.
You're hugging your rock.
It's weird, man. Like, I was supposed to roll half of my die above 10, but it's not happening.
Merrick, as you are just glad that Gray's back, Dara, you can't help but note the change in her demeanor, the smile, the happiness, the sensation, the feelings that are kind of pouring out of her right now.
I'll kind of give them a forced, like, half smile, and then, yeah, just kind of, like, look away, look towards Zephyr and Merrick.
Merrick's like, "Hi, Gray."
Good morning. How have you slept?
Can I invite Dara's
Absolutely.
I go pat your shoulder, Dara. And I kind of just kind of look over at him like,
Like, glaring.
16.
16. Pretty easy to read.
Yeah, okay. I give her just a genuine smile.
roll to hit.
Everybody roll for initiative.
I knew it was going to come to this.
Sephora's like, "I want to watch."
Who's going to win?
So awkward silence for a moment. Then you guys find yourself kind of refocusing on the conversation.
Can we just say we relay everything we
Yeah.
talked about?
So everything
Yes,
they talked about, Gray,
Kidding.
they have now kind of updated you on about the Ashen Valley, the relation to the memory and vision that Merrick had in regards to the statue, and the obsidian kind of pyramid structure at the top of something called a waterfall, a huge valley, a lakefront, forested tree, and this kind of self-reflecting understanding of the relationship between Merrick and the stone, timelines, and all the concerns about bringing the world back to the way it was once before.
Well, we were talking about the possibility of bringing Cullen with us towards this later destiny. After we're done, I think we should end whatever we started here, because it's for a good cause, and I have a lot of misdeeds to atone for, and I would be glad the opportunity to use my abilities for good. I feel there is a lot in this world that needs to be fixed. And we can start small by helping Colin, and then bringing her to this other objective would be an option. I couldn't not notice you have something, even though I am not good at noticing these kind of things. So what do you think?
Is that at me?
All of you, about this idea of bringing more people into this rebuilding the world quest.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that Callan actually had a great idea right along those lines.
Well, Callan asked me about bringing my people into the fight, but I didn't think it would be possible, but I think if I brought back the head of Gregor to my father and atone for the fact that I was captured and enslaved and dishonored, then I would probably atone for that and maybe be able to be allowed to speak with him about maybe helping the cause.
Okay. So we've got two people with people that could contribute. That's good.
So we could go kill Gregor, or we could just do what my father used to call an end game and bypass all of that and go to this valley and, you know,
Ignore all the level 20 big bads and just go right to it.
and just go right over there and take care of it.
We're so close to killing Gregor, though.
Well, if I can kill him myself, which it sounds like I'm going to be able to, with a little help, that would definitely go toward atoning for my indiscretion of being captured and enslaved. Maybe. Or maybe he'll just kill me.
I have to say, the first thing I knew when I came back to the physical world was that I needed to go to the Femur Valley, and we've reached the Femur Valley, and very important things happened there. I think we all agree with that. Now we have a new goal, and I think this is all within the Conduit Stones plan. There is no rush. I've been alive for more than 10 times your age, so I have patience. You should too. Let's do things step by step, in my opinion.
Well, we should probably tell Callan, maybe she could help decide. And it's probably information she would probably want to know, but I'm very impatient. I want to drink the blood of my enemies, and this traveling is tedious. So,
yeah,
whatever gets us into combat.
1v1 me right now, Zafora.
What?
Hit.
Hit you?
You
Is that what you said?
You want to get in combat.
Oh no, I can't rip your heart out. You're a friend.
Well, that's a little bit further.
Right, Dara?
Friends
Dora-
don't rip other friends' hearts out.
I was
Right.
going to
I
say,
can't rip your heart out and drink your blood. That'd be no fun. All right, we have to find some slavers.
As you guys share this moment, day 3 is about to get started. all of you begin to hear Callan's voice kind of raise above the din of the activity of the camp. Causes all of you to kind of turn in that direction, standing slowly and watching as Callan is speaking to the entirety of the camp. Please, you'll give me a moment to explain myself. I would appreciate it. Recently, I've learned that something that was lost to me has been recovered. My wife. They are over there. They're with their friends. They go by the name of Grayson. With this gift that she has returned to me, I have new thoughts. I believe we have new purpose. We will continue our journey to Death's Hollow. However, I will send word to Master Soot that we are not ready to meet up with his reinforcements, as I feel there's greater need for us to travel southwest. Take the Bracken west to the edges of the Stonewood, and then south, and to find our home, the place where me and Grayson are from. There are allies there. It'll not be an easy journey, but I think it's a journey that makes sense. And when we find our allies there, we will gather more numbers. We will reinforce wherever Soot's army approaches. And we will finally take this fight to Wyndham. We will finally bleed that bastard Gregor dry, leave his head the front entrance to remind everyone just how different tomorrow will be, not can be. This is a fight that I think we're all intended for. This is a fight which I think will change everything about this world. I don't know why my memory was taken from me, but I do know my wife has been given back to me, and they have restored my faith as well as my memories of where we are from. And I think that's important. She looks through the crowd at Zafara, Merrick, and Dara. I don't know what role we all have to play, but I'm sure it's a role that we must, whether we want to or not. It's not that great things are going to happen. It's that great things must happen so that we can offer an alternative future for those that may never have had one, even if they wanted it. That is what it means to sacrifice. That is what it means to do the right thing, no matter the cost. Day 3 begins with a rousing speech from Callan. Everybody begins the march, heading off into the hot sweat of the day. Each of you have a D12 of inspiration, good for the next 24 hours. And soon, when we come back, we'll be on the edge of the Archway Crater, staring down into the Valley of Bones and deciding which direction to go next. As we are done for the evening, folks. Holy buckets.
And we level it up, right?
Oh, you wish. Maybe getting to Death's Hollow. That sounds kind of like a milestone to me.
Okay.
Oh my God, that RP was so...
Hello, help!
That RP was awesome. Thank you, everybody. That felt so relieving. I needed that.
That's so good.
Oh, I needed that after this week. It was a busy week.
You got to be my wife.
Tastefully. I
pretty
love
good.
how we can do that
I love it.
tastefully.
Dara would like to tastefully insert herself into that situation.
Look, the more muscly women just around me, all having a great time consensually, the better, if we're honest with ourselves.
Now it's just going to be like Sephora and Merrick waking up going, where in the hell is everybody? 10 o'clock in the morning. We're supposed to leave at 6.
Wait, no, I have a song for this for Merrick specifically. I will put it in the Discord.
Oh, okay. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, by the way this is going, I think at one point it will be only Merrick. Like,
That would be pretty funny. That'd be funny as shit. That's so funny.
I don't know, Merrick.
ooh.
I do like the
I
way
love
you
it.
killed.
I love it.
Yeah.
So, hey, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We had so much fun. It's good to be back. So, ideally, because I really want the group to be together for when they make it to the Valley Archway, we will be taking next Friday off. And we'll be coming back the Friday before Halloween because Dara or Alyssa will be traveling to her new seat of power, her new home, as she is moving. And I'm getting to the point now, I mean, this was our 23rd session, so we're at that point now where I'd rather miss a session since we only have 4 people, and keep the group together every time. And thank you, Gajo, for getting your camera to work. It was so lovely to see your face. It's always nice to be able to see our players and feed off of the energy and feed off the role play. So I really do appreciate the extra effort. That's awesome. Because I know you're managing 2 devices. You got your tablet and your phone, and you're kind of doing the proverbial balancing act to make it work. So I appreciate that.
It's getting better all the time. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we will be back Sunday night. We do not host any games on Twitch on Saturdays yet. I don't know if that's ever going to change. It might. I run 2 of my 5 pay-to-play tables on Saturdays, so I'm usually, you got to pay the bills. But I do have a lot of fun with those tables. They are fun. But like I was saying, now that we're close to that 25 session mark, rather than play without Alyssa next week, I'd rather we just skip a Friday, take that Friday off, have some fun, be back the Friday before Halloween, because we will be taking all of Halloween off. But Debtor's Gambit will be on Sunday night at 6 o'clock. Monday night is Faerun Reborn. Tuesday is Denizens and Their Masters. Wednesday is The Descendants. We have kind of done a semi-reboot of that campaign. There will be no one-shot next Thursday. Instead, if you join our Discord, we'll be hosting a watch party. So jump on into Discord on Thursday to look up the reason why. Also in our Discord, we give away weekly and monthly prizes. So hop on in and take a look at that. Don't forget to go down below, click on some of our friendly creators. I will be adding more creators in the future. But hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really do appreciate your company. Stay safe, be kind, play a game. You'll love it. I promise. Good night, everybody.